Hey everyone, on this episode, I'm going to put myself on the spot. Here's what I mean. I'm going to talk about how you as an attorney can actually vet an online marketing company. But here's the kicker to this. I'm not going to be the one putting myself on the spot. I am going to let another person who actually works with attorneys as well put me on the spot. I'm going to be interviewing this person. I think you're going to learn a lot from her. You're going to enjoy this episode, and she's going to be telling us exactly what you as an attorney need to do to vet people like us before you hire us to do your marketing. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to another person who also helps attorneys. As you guys know, that is my target market. Those are the people who I help the most. So I want to introduce you to someone who's doing similar things that I'm doing, but in a different way. So without further ado, he is the great Allison Williams.
Hello, everyone. Frank, I'm so happy to be on your show. I'm excited to talk to you about today's topic and hopefully give some value to your audience.
Well, I know you will. I mean, I've actually had the opportunity to review some of the things that you do. And I think it was a good match here to have you on the show, especially since we serve the same audience. So Allison, just tell the audience a little bit about you. I know a little bit about you, but can you introduce yourself to the audience? Who are you and what do you do?
Sure. So I am an attorney. I'm a family law attorney licensed in the lovely land of New Jersey. And I have been a family law attorney for almost 19 years now. About halfway through that time period, I decided I was ready for more in my life and decided to stake out on my own and start a law firm. And by that time, I had a very big reputation and I was very skilled at family law practice. And that to me was all that I needed to go out and, start a business, right? Plenty of lawyers do this. They just lawyer in their own entities. They have their own name on the door. And that was one of the stupidest thoughts I've ever had because I started working and very quickly realized that, lawyering across the state, by that time I was practicing in 16 counties across New Jersey. And I had a client base that kept growing and didn't have the infrastructure set up, didn't have the people to service the work, didn't have support in anything that I needed. My secretary was supposed to come with me from my last job. She declined at the last minute. So I had to go out and hire people. Didn't know how to hire people. So I ended up having to fire people. And, after doing that a series of times, I decided, I'm done with this. Let me just be my own secretary for a while to kind of recover from the trauma of the bad hires. So I would get up in the morning and be a secretary from 6 to 8:30, a lawyer from 8:30 to 6 p.m., take a little snack break, and then 6:30 to 9 p.m., I'd be a secretary again. And I did that rinsing, repeating for 7 days a week for several weeks before exhaustion set in. And it happened to be quite fortuitous that on a Thursday, I was called by the courts in all of the matters that I had on Friday, that my matters were adjourned. So I was like, okay, great. I finally get a day in the office. And I decided to stay late on Thursday so I could crank out a little bit more extra work and actually go home and have a full night of sleep. I was going to sleep until, get this, 7 o'clock in the morning, which was late for me in those days. So I'm all excited and I get in the car and, it's kind of like the tension is built up and you finally get in the car and you kind of release the tension. And next thing you know, I was waking up driving 90 miles an hour down the highway and I almost hit a guardrail. So that was kind of my moment where Jesus took the wheel, quite literally. And I realized that working harder is not working and said, I'm done with this. So I offered to sell myself to the highest bidder and got a very lucrative offer from a large law firm to come in as a partner. And at the last minute, I said, no, I don't want to do that. I started a business for some reason. I needed to figure out how to make it work. And so I started working with business coaches to get myself the tools, the strategy that I needed to really get a control of the company. And because I already had a natural knack for systematizing, I put that together with what I was being taught and trained upon. And next thing you know, I was able to grow into a multi-million-dollar business in only 3.5 years. So that was kind of the awakening moment of the fact that I had a skill and a knack for helping people to do the same thing, because I would share my knowledge in the coaching community where I was, and people would say like, oh my God, can you help me build out this system? Or can you help me train this person? And I ultimately didn't work for that coaching company. I was just a client. But by the time I left, I didn't have anything to do because my business was so highly dialed in. I wasn't necessary for it anymore. And I was happy with my income. I was happy with my team. So I just kind of started hanging out on Facebook and saw that lawyers were assembling themselves in groups around the topic of business. And next thing you know, I had a place where I could add value, and I just gave away my time and my energy and my effort and decided, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Let me create a business around it. So in January of 2018, we launched Law Firm Mentor, which is a business coaching service dedicated to helping solo and small law firm attorneys to grow their revenues, crush chaos in business, and make more money. And that crush chaos piece is really my zone of genius, where we help people create systems that generate profit, ease in business, and help people to create a lifestyle or a high profit center business, or both, as they desire. And we do that with clients all across the country now. We are in 46 states. I have a coach team of 5 coaches all together. And our clients are as diverse as the team of professionals that I employ. So we have contingency lawyers, we have flat fee lawyers, we have hourly billers, we have some subscription services, and we have clients that are in well over 70 different practice areas. So the coaching is not specific to any one practice. It is really the codification of business principles into a law practice so that it becomes a law business, and people then can have the freedom of being able to create the income that they want and work the amount of time that they want.
That is phenomenal, Allison. That is phenomenal. Kudos to you. Congratulations to you and your success. That is absolutely phenomenal. And I know my audience is going to get a ton of value from this interview, because that story is to me, it touches my heart to hear with such success in such a short period of time, especially since you're helping a very an entity that's in need of that assistance that you give them. So that's great. Now, the topic of today that we chose, because you've got so many things that you offer, but I think today's topic is also very needed in the industry, is that we're going to be talking about how to vet an online marketing company. And that's, I'm glad that we were able to set aside this time. I know you're a very busy woman, because this is important to my audience, for my audience to understand. So, before we get into like the nitty gritty, I'm going to go kind of hit the surface, scratch the surface a little bit first. And I want to talk about, as you know, I service a lot of attorneys, and there are a lot of people who do what I do. But, what should someone seek? What's the information that someone should seek before they, hire a digital marketing company?
So there's a lot of things that I think are missing from the conversation about digital marketing, right? I think people kind of get dollars and cents in their eyes, and they say, oh, okay, I can just go hire someone and they can put something online and poof, I will get to desired outcome of more clients. And sometimes it works that way. But the reality is that a marketing company is only as good as the product that it is marketing. So when you are thinking about how you're going to be successful with a digital marketing company, you really have to think about what they have as assets that they can use to help people become aware of you. And that always starts with making sure that you are tailoring what you are putting out there, right? What your message is, to the right avatar. Who do you want to speak to? Who do you want to serve? Who are you best at serving? And when you dial that in, making sure that you are creating enough available assets so that the marketing company can not only create content for you and use that to effectively grow your presence online, but they can take something that is already within you and put it out there. Because, there's lots of different companies that can write, the FAQ of how to get divorced in your state, or how to avoid jail in your state, or what to do when you want to buy a piece of commercial property in your state, right? You can always get data. But what really connects with people is not just the data. It is the data connected with the professional or the value system of the professional that they're going to be hiring. So there's something about you as a person that is going to make someone more inclined toward you than the next lawyer. And if you don't recognize that you are an individual and that your individuality is what is going to sell people, then what you tend to do is you just kind of take the name, rank, serial number, copy and paste from another website, change the lingo a little bit so you don't get pinged by Google, and you think that that's going to be effective. And for the price shopper, right, whoever is the lowest price, it will be, right? They're just looking at the dollar and cents. But when you're really trying to create a brand and create sustainability of your marketing through a digital marketing company, you have to be intelligent about what you are giving them and working with them so that they can be effective for you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense of what you're saying, and I agree with you. But let me ask you, just so we can help the audience a little bit more. So online marketing, digital marketing, those are broad terms, right? So how can a partner, or a business owner, or whatever you want to call them, how can they, how do they know if the right strategy is being proposed for them? Like, what should they ask some questions? Should the digital marketing agency ask the right questions? What's your take on that?
Yeah. So choosing the right professional company is really about asking questions. I mean, that is what you're trying to explore, right? And you're trying to get at the heart of where is their zone of genius, right? So just as you may be a particular type of lawyer, you are not all things law for all people in all industries in all states in the US, right? You serve in a particular region, right? You could be a federal practitioner, so you could have the ability to go across states. But you serve in a particular area and you serve a particular demographic with a particular service. So the first thing I'd want to know from the digital marketing company is, who do you serve, right? Do you have a specialization in law? Do you know what legal marketing looks like from a landscape perspective, right? Because the way that Google's most recent, Google is always changing its rules, but the most recent emphasis on local vicinity as a primary driver consideration of your placement online, that may have a different impact for your local dry cleaner who's only at the corner store than from a law firm that has a multitude of offices in multiple counties or multiple principalities. So you have to recognize from talking to them if they understand the legal landscape. Then, of course, you want to know that they have had proven success with the demographic that you fit within. So if you are a criminal defense lawyer in a particular region that has, let's say, a small population, are they effective at helping other criminal defense law practices with some of the same constraints that you face based on your region? It doesn't have to be copy and paste, but there needs to be enough of a differentiation between what you are looking to achieve and what they have personally achieved, so that you can say, yeah, if I work with this person, they will have a strategy, they will be able to demonstrate. And then the final thing that I always tell people when you're looking for a company is understanding what their process is for marketing your company. Because there are some agencies where you're working with one strategist and that person is going to assemble the resources for you. There are other companies where you are working with individuals within that company. You've got a PPC person, you've got an SEO person, you've got a graphics person, you've got an email person. And understanding how that structure is going to ultimately be utilized for you and with you is important. Because what a lot of lawyers fail at is they say, great, I'm going to hire this person, I'll pay you the money and you go market me. But then they learn after starting the process, oh, wait, I have to dedicate a certain number of hours a week to review the copy that's written, to ensure that I approve the graphics, to give them access to maybe recordings of things that I have presented. I have to give them tailored information about who I serve. And that takes time. And if the lawyer is not available to the marketing company to give them that time, the company can't do what it's needed to do. And then you think this company is failing for me, but the reality is you are failing for you. But ultimately that conversation needs to be had before you hire them.
I can't tell you how much I love hearing that because I say that all the time. It's something that I gotta tell you that it warms my heart to hear someone else say it, because that way my audience knows that it's just not me. It's something that's proven. It's proven in this industry. Now, you may or may not know this, but I have specific marketing structures per each vertical within the law firm. So whether it's family law, personal injury, bankruptcy, etc., we have specific things that we know work. Not only that, it's per region, because there's certain keywords that work better in California that doesn't work in the East Coast, etc., etc. So we have it, dialed in to that degree. So I'm glad that you said that, because sometimes I think my audience gets tired of hearing me say it. So hearing another voice is a lot better. So thanks for that. And I totally agree. Now let me ask you something, because you said something there that kind of spurred me on thinking about something else, because it is important. Because one of the things that we love to tell our attorneys is that we are partners of yours, not necessarily a law partner, obviously, but we're a digital marketing partner. We're going to help you. So a lot of times, we need them to approve our content, or if we're writing content for them, or approve graphics, like you said. But we also need them to understand and own their role in tracking the data that's before them, the conversion data, etc. So speak about that. What's your take on the actual business owner being a part of a partnership and tracking data?
Yeah, so I think it's an exceptional question, and it's something that I talk to and coach our lawyers on a lot, which is that just hiring somebody to perform a service is almost always not going to be a successful relationship for you unless you know what you're holding them accountable to. So it's really important that instead of saying, I'm going to hire you, I'm going to pay you money, and you're going to go market, period, you need to ask the question, what is the desired outcome from this relationship? What are we trying to accomplish? And how are we going to get there? Because as you said, it is a partnership, right? So your marketing, your professional really should be telling you, this is what is reasonable to be expected from this type of marketing activity over this period of time. And then there's going to be some trial and error, right? There's science involved in marketing, but there's also art. So it could be that in your jurisdiction, you typically spend X dollars a month, and that yields a certain number of leads if you're doing, let's say, paid advertising. But that's not a guarantee, right? Because as we said, Google changes things all the time, right? Your market landscape is also existing within the greater United States. So we, of course, have economic considerations. You have changes in the legal landscape in terms of new competitors coming in. So there's always going to be things that could alter what that hypothesis is for what the likely outcome of leads is from behavior that you do online. So you have to have a plan going in. Now, once you're in the law firm can't just statically say more clients or less clients, right? More is not a metric. You have to have a very specific number. And that really comes from having a specific conversion funnel built out so that you can track the data. So I tell people, if you're not sophisticated at this, if you haven't gotten yourself a CRM, if you don't have technology to help you, you can do this very simply with an Excel spreadsheet, right? It doesn't have to be rocket science to start. I remember when I first started tracking data, it was as simple as having an Excel spreadsheet. And we put in very simple data. We tracked the number of impressions that we were getting, right? How many hits to our website? How many people were seeing our marketing message? And then from that, how many leads were coming in? Of those leads, Are they good leads? Are they people that we would sell our service to, or are they not viable, right? If somebody's looking for a service in another state where we're not licensed, that may be a lead for what we offer, but that person is not a viable lead for what we would sell them. So that has to be identified, because that's where your marketing conversation with your professional is really going to take root, right? When you ask, okay, great, I got 30 leads this week, but only 5 of them are in need of a service that I can offer in my jurisdiction. So they're not, the result is not effective. We need to hone in. We need to do some maybe negative geo-targeting of our leads, right? Or of our conversations online.
Right.
And then you need to have the second half of your funnel built out. So of the people that are calling your law firm, how many of those are actually being converted into scheduled appointments? Because if the marketing company delivers to you 100 people, but you can't get any of them to hire you, that's not effective. But that's not the marketing company's fault. That's your fault for not having a sales process that's effective in your business. Mm-hmm. So you need to know, what is our intake delivering in terms of scheduled appointments? And then how many of those scheduled appointments are actually showing up, right? We scheduled 10 people this week, 2 of them showed up. That's probably because you're offering free consultations, which I almost universally tell people not to do. And if you are seeing that you're not getting people to show up for the appointments, you can start tinkering with that, right? What types of ways can we change our pricing structure, or the way we talk about money, or the incentive that we offer, or the timeliness of the appointment to get people to actually show up for the consult? And then, of course, lastly, you want clients, right? That's the whole purpose of this. So how many are you actually converting from the scheduled consultation into paying clients? All of those data metrics are really important to track, and they should be tracked every single day in your business.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this topic this week. I hope you guys, and more importantly, I hope you guys are implementing everything that we talk about each and every week, because it's very important for your business. Also, don't forget to subscribe to whatever app you listen to on this, because that's where you won't miss any updates on any episodes that we have. Also want to remind you, if you want to ensure that your digital marketing presence is on point, if you want to make sure that there are no errors happening when someone actually is looking for your business, that way people can find you exactly when they need you, go to my website, lbmsllc.com. Go to on the home page, and where it says Online Presence Report, click on that. You will have your own personalized online presence report. It's free of charge. It's going to tell you exactly how you're appearing online. This is a gold mine that I'm giving you for free. And I want all of my listeners to take advantage of that. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you right back to the show. Amen to that. Let me ask you this question here, Allison, since we're talking about leads and tracking and all that. Some people who listen to my show are clients of mine, so you're going to be speaking to them directly on this question here, because a lot of times, we offer monthly and quarterly reviews of the data that's coming before them. And we also have a dashboard, which they log into, they see and all this stuff. And very few people actually log into that dashboard. And a lot of people cancel on my monthly or quarterly review meetings. And all they tell me is, hey, Frank, the phone's ringing. Keep it up. That's it. We're good. What would you say to something like that? If, because I know they're getting leads, I just don't know their conversion rates. So how can you educate them? Help me help them.
So, I think it's a common problem. Lawyers are busy, right? Yep. And it really helps to get someone who understands the importance of knowing your numbers, not just knowing good versus bad, right? So phone is ringing fits into the good category. If phone stops ringing and it fits into the bad category, they're probably going to call you. Oh my God, we don't have any leads. You got to help us. Well, one of the things that you have to do in order to get to consistent recurring revenue, and in particular, increasing consistent recurring revenue, if that's your goal to grow your business, is you have to know the numbers at an intimate level. It doesn't help you to have someone else tell you, hey, I'm doing a good job. Because if all of a sudden your leads drop in half, you're going to have probably a panic moment. And if all you do is call the marketing company, well, to be fair, Frank, there is an incentive, obviously, for you to say, hey, I'm doing a great job. It's not my fault. It's Google, right? And the skeptical lawyer is going to say, that's nonsense. I'm hiring you. I'm paying you. You should be able to fix this. And then you get into an adversarial relationship with your partner. So that's not beneficial for you. In order to know whether or not what is being done for you is actually benefiting you, you need to have an understanding of your numbers. So if you do nothing else other than let your marketing professional assist you in understanding the numbers, what to look for, and ultimately take time and put it on your schedule right now to be a good client of your marketing professional. That means put time on your schedule. I like to do it once a week, but you can actually do it less frequently than that, especially if you have far more in terms of revenue than you desire or far more than what you minimally require. You can say, I can do this biweekly, but minimally, you need to be looking at it more than once a month, and you need to be looking at what's coming in so that you can say, where can I improve? Because what most people think that they need to do is go out and buy more leads, right? As soon as I don't have enough money, we say, oh my God, let me just go pay somebody to go send me more leads. But you could be doing things like increasing your conversion rate. You could be increasing your show up rate by doing things like offering people an incentive. Hey, pay for the consult and I'll give it back to you when you show up, right? Or I'll give it back to you if you don't convert. You can do things with your actual lead flow, right? You can have different conversations with them. And then in terms of what's coming in, many times you have a lot more authority and power and control than you realize. It's almost like you are giving a Herculean task to your marketing professional without thinking about how much easier and faster it would be for you to grow your company if you were more involved. So the one thing I always tell lawyers all the time is now in the digital age, it is so much easier to get content. I want you to literally just sit down and think about the last consultation that you delivered. If you did nothing other than record that consultation with the consent of whomever you're recording, if of course you're in a two-party state, you definitely don't want to violate the law, but you want to get a recording of what you are saying to people and then have that recording transcribed. You can use one of these services that do artificial intelligence and spend literally $10 or less to get yourself an hour of transcribed content. And then your marketing professional has your voice, your words, your way of speaking. They have what you value, and that information can more easily and more quickly be chunked down, put into various different places on social media, on your website, in lead magnets that you would give for people to download. And you have now accelerated the process of content creation without spending any more money and without spending any more time. Because it literally takes all of 5 minutes for you to upload a digital recording onto a platform and get yourself back a transcript. It takes no time at all. Exactly. So there's so many ways now that we can do it faster, cheaper, and easier. And that can help you get your information over to a professional who can use it and actually start doing the science and the art of marketing online for you.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you guys heard that, because it's such. I mean, I can't tell you, Allison, how frustrating it is when they cancel, because I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can see is that they're getting calls and they're getting leads, but I don't know, what kind of leads. I can't tweak. It's very difficult for us, the digital agency, to tweak a campaign without information. The information on the other end, because you have to have a holistic view of what's going on. So thanks for that. Hope you guys are listening. All right. So let me ask you something here. Moving right along here, because this has been a great interview. I think probably I have to say probably one of my favorite ones thus far this year. And because it's all about what we're trying to help attorneys do. So if you were to, let me ask you this, and it's going to be tough. Yeah. And I apologize in advance. This may be a little hard question for you to answer, but if you were to ask one question, if an attorney, let me, not you personally, but if an attorney were to ask one question of an online marketing company to determine if they're the right fit for them, what would that be in your mind?
That is a tough question, because there's so many questions that I think you have to ask the professionals that you're speaking to. If I had to distill it down to one question, I would ask them, what is your process for achieving X number of leads over X period of time? Okay. And those two X's need to be filled in, right? So I'm gonna just use something in the schema of X so it makes more sense, right? What is your proven process for achieving 20 leads over a 60-day time period? Because if you couch the question that way, one, they have to have a process. So they have to tell you and be able to articulate what that process is. Two, it has to be a proven process. So you need to have some results associated with this is a proven process because. Three, you're asking about quantity, right? So you're telling them directly what you want. So it requires you to do the inner work of this is what my law firm business can afford in terms of this is how many people we could service, right? If I told you I'm going to dump 50 new clients on your business tomorrow, most small law firms would not be able to service that amount of work, right? So you have to know how much you want. And then finally, over a certain period of time, like, because you're telling the marketing company, I want 20 leads over 60 days, tells them how realistic your expectations are based on what they can reasonably deliver to you, right? If you're asking for, I want 40 leads tomorrow, most marketing companies are going to say, well, look, I can't do that for you. Or they're not.
Go somewhere else, right?
Or they're not. They're going to lie to you. But here's the thing. If you get somebody to tell you that some absurdly high number of leads can be delivered to you over some reasonably short period of time, then you know that you're being told something. You're being sold a bill of goods just to get your money. So when you frame it that way, you have the opportunity to see how the marketing professional understands their process, understands the digital landscape, understands how budgets are used in online marketing, understands whether or not you are at a reasonable understanding, right? Do you have a reasonable desired outcome? Or if you don't, can they educate you, right? I've had marketing companies that I've worked with for years tell me, that really isn't something that I can suggest is likely. What I think is more likely is we could do X to get Y, or you could triple your spend to get Y, right? But we're not going to be able to do this in the budget that you're wanting. And I love getting those answers. I love getting the feedback of somebody telling me what can and can't be done, because even though there's a range of reasonable, I'm not a marketer, right? I understand marketing at a higher level than most attorneys. But even when I started out in my journey, I just asked a lot of questions like, how does this work? Right? What do I need to be doing? How can we get this going? And the more inquisitive you are, when you have a really good professional, they will tell you what will and won't work, and they will help you to get to the success that you desire. But you have to be open to asking questions, and you have to audit the answers that you're getting in response. This is unfortunately a vetting process.
Yeah. And speaking of vetting process, and you mentioned in your answer that it is hard to just ask one question. And then, we only had time for one question, but I understand you have a vetting process gift for our listeners. Like, can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we created a cheat sheet here at Law Firm Mentor for lawyers to be able to ask the right questions, right? And there's a whole host of categories that we talk about. It's really A, B, C, and D. But within those categories, we outline the questions that you need to be exploring with your digital marketing professionals before you hire them. So, A starts out with accountability, right? How are they going to be held accountable? Things like dashboards, we love to hear it, right? So that we know exactly what you're delivering. But it goes beyond that. What is the expected return over a period of time? What is going to be my role in helping you to deliver that? What are the deliverables going to look like in terms of what type of avatar are we going after? And how are you going to help me either change and improve the quality of the client that I'm generating, or increase the volume of clients that I'm generating, or both, right? Then we go into some of the basics of business, right? What types of businesses do they help? I serve law firms is not sufficient for you to know whether or not your law firm is likely to be successful in a working relationship with that marketing professional. Do they serve law firms in your practice area? in your region? Do they have any restrictions around who they can take on as a client? Because many marketing companies will say, I'm not going to service your competitor who's right across the street in the same practice area. So what are the rules around that?
That's one thing we do, by the way. We don't, if I have a family law attorney in Edison, I won't take on another family law attorney in Edison, maybe up North Jersey, but not in Edison.
Right. And you want to hear that, because you want to hear that you're not going to be, that you're not going to have your team member, your partner kind of working against you. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of those great, sexy secrets that you're giving them about how you're going to provide content. You don't want them taking that and copying and pasting it across the street and then ultimately diluting your effects. And then, of course, one of the things that's really important is we need to talk about your compatibility, right? And that really goes into the process. How many hours a week or month is going to be required for me to deliver for you? How much content is going to be created? Who is going to approve the content? And does it need to be approved overall? I've worked with some marketers for years, and at this point in our relationship, I trust that they will create the content that I desire. I don't have to approve it anymore, because generally speaking, we agree on the content map or what the categories and topics are going to be. And they know my writing style. They have examples of my speeches. They can write the content without me having to approve it. Is that process of approval going to continue throughout your relationship, or is it going to wane at some point? Those are some of the things that you need to really be clear on. And then finally, differentiation. What is going to be that key critical component that will make you stand out relative to the next family law attorney or criminal defense attorney or personal injury attorney? You're not a commodity, and you have to recognize that, as does your marketer. So if your marketer is giving you information that suggests all family law firms are marketed the same way, they're not the right one for you. They just don't have the level of expertise that you need in this area. Case in point, I have a very good friend who's located in Bergen County. She has a family law firm in Bergen County, and her law firm includes herself as the principal, and she has 2 associates. She does not want to grow her law firm beyond having herself and 2 associates. She's made a very clear lifestyle choice. She wants to lawyer, she wants to employ people, and she wants to only work a certain amount of time. However, she of course wants to grow revenue as inflation is increasing and as her economic needs may increase. So that includes having a very specialized niche of clients that are very high net worth clients. My law firm is in another part of the state, also in an affluent part of the state, but we service people that have your garden variety, 2 kids, a house, and a pension divorce. And we also service multimillionaires. So there's a range, and we have 9 attorneys. So someone who's coming here is going to have a very different experience than someone who's going to her law firm, not because there's a differentiation in who answers the phone and how quickly we return emails and do we know the judges, right? The kind of stuff that people think of as kind of the stuff you can put on any website, but because of the approach that we take. The fact that we have a non-attorney who is our salesperson, that you have a very targeted process. We have our own little mapped out grid for how we determine who works with which attorneys, not just based on skill set, but based on personality, based on emotional needs, based on sophistication of issues, based on case volume. All of that is dialed in pursuant to a system here in a way that's different than in her particular law firm, even though she has a very, very solid law firm. So if a marketer is not able to figure out what the secret sauce is so that they can talk to the person that's fit for you relative to the person that's fit for another entity, you're not going to have much success in terms of getting to the right people with the most powerful, impactful message. So your sales become harder, right? Even if they call you, it's going to be harder to convert them. And you're going to have fewer people calling you because a generic message is going to land very blandly to everyone and not really speak to anyone.
That is exactly why asking the right questions of avatar is so important, because your messaging will be different. Your targeting will be different. Everything's different. The keywords that you select will be different, because each market is different in that aspect. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. So that link to the cheat sheet will be in the show notes, folks. So if you want to understand how to vet your digital marketing agency, That I recommend that you head on over right now to the show notes, and the link will be on there. Now, do I have your permission, Allison, to also include your LinkedIn information?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
awesome. So I really want you guys to pay attention to what Allison's doing. She does amazing things. You'll be very impressed in LinkedIn, because I follow her on LinkedIn. She posts, she has a lot of information there. So if you want to know more about her, but definitely get that cheat sheet. I think it's going to help you tremendously. And then it helps you put me on the spot. If you want to do business with me, ask those questions. Hey, try me out. You know what I'm saying? Why not? So this has all been great, Allison. So thanks for coming. But before I let you go, I know you're a very busy woman. Before I let you go, let me ask you one thing. Is there anything that I did not ask you that you think will benefit the audience?
I think we covered a lot about digital marketing. The one thing that we didn't talk about was the importance of the lawyers who are out there becoming educated about business. Because marketing is only one very, very critical piece of your business, right? We all recognize that we do not have the ability to go out into the street, clobber someone over the head and say, hey, you look like you need a divorce, come back to my office, right? We have to attract people to our entities by virtue of what we put out there. So it's important that marketing be dialed in. But as we discussed, we talked about the importance of metrics. We talked about the importance of you being a good client to your marketing professional, but that all stems around the idea of you being an educated business person. If you don't understand how you are driving leads to your company and how that impacts your conversion rate, your sales system is going to be a question mark. And the problem with most lawyers, the reason why law firm owners are overstressed, overworked, underpaid, and typically feel like they just have a job that has their name on it, is because they don't understand these numbers in the various categories of their business in a way that they're able to move the levers. So we want you to get to a place where you have ultimate control of authority of your business. And you do that by being informed about how to be a better business person so that your business can ultimately run without you.
Thanks a lot for all that information. I'm glad I asked you that question, because we did forget that. And you have a wealth of knowledge, Allison. I'm going to put this out there just to see if you're interested. I would love to have you as a repeat guest one of these days on the show, because I think there's a lot more to talk about in terms of helping attorneys. So if if you could stick around after the recording, and we could maybe vet out another time frame where we can talk more, helping attorneys, that'll be great. So anyway, this will be the end of this episode. I'm gonna put an end to the end of this episode. My name is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you have just been blessed by the great Allison Williams. So until next week, folks, take care and bye for now. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.